What is good, everybody, man? This is your guy, Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Welcome to the Talking Sports with Manny podcast. We got so much to talk about. This was a great weekend in sports. We got the 49ers winning. We have the Cincinnati Bengals winning. We got Roy Hachimura getting traded to the Lakers. Rob Pelinka worked his magic once again, but we're going to get into all this and more right after I run an intro. Let's get it. So as I was thinking to myself, where do I really start? We got to start with the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals, it's time to start putting some respect on their name. Everybody looks at Joe Burrow and they always look down on Joe Burrow just because it's Joe Burrow. Just because it's the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 years in a row, this guy has put his team in the AFC Championship game. We got Ladarius in the building, man. What's good? What's good? Bengals winning it all, calling it now. I'm not doubting that they don't win at all. I'm not doubting that they don't even get to the Super Bowl. Like the Bengals are due for a championship. Joe Burrow is as good as Patrick Mahomes. But the thing is, until Joe Burrow wins one, he cannot get on that Patrick Mahomes type of hype. But he's really, really good. Joe Burrow is really, really good. I think it's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. It's time to start saying that Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen. It's time to start having that conversation. And I'm going to pull up these stats side by side. Joe Burrow in year 3 is in his second AFC Championship game. Like, that's amazing. So let's look at what Joe Burrow has done in his few years of being in the NFL. Like, he is as legit as they come, man. The kid is special. He's special. 6'4", big quarterback, 26 years, young. His first season, he had an okay year, 2,600 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And then in year 2, he takes his team to the Super Bowl, 4,600 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Then in year 3, which is this year, this is nuts, 4,400 yards. So he passed for 200 yards less, right? 35 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He arguably had his best season this year. He's even better this year. The Cincinnati Bengals run game is took a step back, but at the end of the day, that Bengals offensive line improved, and that was what was their problem. Derry says, why do we consistently give Allen the second best behind Patrick Mahomes over Burrow? I think Burrow is better. I think Burrow's better too as well. But the thing is, with Burrow, this is year 3. Josh Allen has been playing for just a little bit longer. Not only that, some people were saying that Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes. But until Josh Allen actually wins one, I cannot give Josh Allen that kind of praise yet. He's a good quarterback. Yes, he is. Says, I've never seen Diggs go off on Allen like he did yesterday. It's one of those things, man. It happens. It happens. So it's like the most interesting thing is we were so for sure that Buffalo was the best team in the AFC. Like I said, nobody gave the Bengals credit. Let's go ahead and look at what Josh Allen has done in his few years in the league. Just for context, right? So Josh Allen, he's been in the league, 5 years now? Year 1, 2,000 yards. He had 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And I'm just going to just stick solely on the passing, not the rushing. We know what Josh Allen brings to the table running the ball. In year 2, 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, right? Eventually, Stephon Diggs shows up, and then the whole trajectory for Josh Allen goes skyrocket. But I still believe that Josh Allen needs another playmaking wide receiver outside of Stephon Diggs, a guy that is not Gabriel Davis. We'll get more into that. Josh Allen in year 3, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Year 4, 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Then this year, which is year 5, 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 picks. So you can see that the numbers are slightly better than Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow has just had the better success. So when you talk about playoff numbers, I mean, numbers in general, you give it to Josh Allen. Physicality, strength, arm strength, that's debatable. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen has better numbers. He's been doing it longer. That's why Joe Burrow hasn't been getting the respect. But after this season, everything changes. If Joe Burrow is able to get his team right back to Super Bowl, whether they win or lose, you have to now crown Joe Burrow as the second best quarterback in the NFL. You look at it, as great as Patrick Mahomes has been, this is what, his 5th straight AFC championship game? The guy is amazing. He's legit. Granted, with everything that Mahomes has done in the league, he only has one Super Bowl. It just goes to show you how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. Let's check out Patrick Mahomes. Let's look up the stats real quick. Patrick Mahomes is a guy that you would feel has 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls, but he only has one Super Bowl. Okay, he has an MVP, so he's done things in this league. He's done amazing. He's 2 times All Pro. 5-time Pro Bowler. The list goes on and on and on. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he might be one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it when it's all said and done. Now, regardless of the championships, you can't compare championships. Championships does not make a player great or not great. Okay? Aaron Rodgers is great even with only one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is more talented than Tom Brady. Tom Brady just knows how to win. Tom Brady has just been in positions to win. Now, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. What I'm saying is that Aaron Rodgers is more talented than Tom Brady. And let me know if I'm wrong. Ladarius says, I just don't understand how Allen can be so good, but get so many turnovers with that offense. Absolutely. That offense is the problem. That offense, like I said, needs more playmaking players. The offense is not good enough with just Stephon Diggs. They paid Dawson Knox, and Dawson Knox is just a jag to me. He isn't who we thought he was. People were thinking that Dawson Knox is the next Mark Andrews or the next Kelsey. He's not good. Okay. You have Gabriel Davis, who you're trying to see who he's really a number 3 wide receiver. So let's just call it what it is. Josh Allen, with all the so-called weapons that he has, Devin Singletary, he's a jag. The Bills are going to need to trade up, do everything you can to get a Jahmyr Gibbs or get you a Bijan Robinson into that offense. Josh Allen is going to need a run game. He needs a run game. Patrick Mahomes doesn't really need a run game, but this year he has one. So Patrick Mahomes, with everything that he lost, he actually got better. His team actually got better. Patrick Mahomes actually makes people better. Patrick Mahomes is a one of a kind. So we know who Mahomes is. But in year 1, starting, so we're not going to count the 2017 season. Let's count the 2018 season when he started playing. That year, he had 5,000 yards passing. He had 50 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's how you come into the league and say, hey, I'm the best quarterback in the league. I'm going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And that's what Patrick Mahomes was able to do in his first full year starting. He went 12-4 that year. So the records are there. The guy is a winner. For his career, he's 64-16. So when you're talking about who's the best quarterbacks, you got to look at what they do in the regular season and also what they do in the postseason. Like I said, 5 straight years of AFC championship. You can't beat it. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 5 straight years of being in the AFC championship. And that's what separates Patrick Mahomes from every other quarterback in the league. All Patrick Mahomes has to do now is get another title. He's been to the big game twice. He's been to the mini games 5 times. No, the AFC championship is a big game. It's not a mini game, but you guys get the point. In year 2 of fully starting, 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And that was an off season for him. And they still won 11-13. That's an off season for Patrick Mahomes. He only played 14 games that year, but you get the point. He still was able to be effective. Look, most teams will take a quarterback that gets you 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Like, up until this point, Patrick Mahomes was a turnover-free type guy. And then even in 2020, when he went 14-1 as a starter in 15 games, 4,700 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, right? That's who Patrick Mahomes is. And then in 2021, started 17 games, 12-5 record, 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. This was the year when he started to throw picks, and people were saying, oh, Patrick Mahomes is not this, Patrick Mahomes is not that. What's good, bro? What's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. I've been out the country. I'm finally back, and it's good to be with you all and talk football and basketball. But back to Patrick Mahomes. After the 2021 season, I was hearing people saying that Josh Allen is better. And I was like, why is Josh Allen better? This dude had an off year, and it's 37 touchdowns and 13 picks. Up until this point, Mahomes was not throwing picks. Then in 2022, Patrick Mahomes loses his best weapon in Tyreek Hill. And then people are saying, oh, Mahomes is going to fall off. Mahomes is not going to be this. Mahomes is not going to be that. And what does he go on to do? He throws for a career high 5,200 yards with no Tyreek Hill. People say, oh, Tyreek Hill made Patrick Mahomes. Well, this season, Patrick Mahomes showed everybody who he really is. 5,200 yards passing, 41 passing touchdowns, his second highest of his career, 12 interceptions. You can argue that this 2022 season was better than Patrick Mahomes' 2018 season. You can argue it. 2018, he had better weapons, right? Better defense, better this, better that. This year, everybody counted out Kansas City. They went 14-3 this year. Patrick Mahomes has never lost more than 5 games in any season. So when we're talking about who's the best quarterback in the league, those are some of the factors that you have to factor in on who Patrick Mahomes is. He is the best quarterback in the league right now. And then you have guys like Burrow. And then you have guys like Josh Allen. All three guys, they all win. And I love how this goes. In a nutshell, the Bengals just could not get over that hump. And Buffalo cannot get over that hump. This is, year after year after year. And it's now, do we start to blame Josh Allen? Is it the offense? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it the GM not putting together a team that can produce? There's lots of different factors here. It's not all on Josh Allen. It takes more than a quarterback. We've seen the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL not make the playoffs this year. Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, and there's 2 more that I can't even think of. I can't even think of them because they were irrelevant. When you're not in the playoffs, it doesn't even matter. Deshaun Watson, it doesn't even matter what your status is. Like, you're not, okay, you get paid, right? You hear all of this about franchise quarterback this, franchise quarterback that. There's literally 3 elite quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I'm not even going to count Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. These guys are older. Not that these guys can't get it done, but they need a lot around them. They need a perfect team to literally get it done. You have Tampa Bay, who took some steps back defensively, offensive line, and as great as Tom Brady is, even at this age, he just couldn't get it done. So I'm not going to count those 2. I think those 2 are a tier below elite. The elite quarterbacks right now is Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and then it drops off, and then Josh Allen in his own tier, and then it's like gap, then the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers of the world. That's kind of how I look at it. And if you disagree, drop it in the comment section. We can talk about it. Tweet me. Hit me on DMs. Let's talk about it. So the way that I see it is, people want these franchise quarterbacks that are supposed to carry the team, right? Like Dak Prescott, right? What happened there? For how long do we continue to say that Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback? Or maybe the franchise quarterbacks aren't what they used to be. Maybe you see more teams start building around a team concept than going all in on a quarterback. All right. So Ladarius says, so would tier 2 be Lamar, Hurts, Kyler? Honestly, tier 2 should be Hurts. It starts off with Hurts. I can't put Lamar in that right now. Why? Well, you say, hey, Lamar's been an MVP. Why do you not put Lamar in a tier 2? Because the best ability is availability. And for the last 2 years, Lamar Jackson has not been available. So I can't trust him. I can't put him in a tier 2. And then until he gets his contract, he might end up like Deshaun Watson. Granted, Deshaun Watson just got back. We got to see what Deshaun Watson looks like in year 2 of his deal. Kyler Murray, he's hurt. See, these running, scrambling quarterbacks, I do not like their style of play. Unless you have a body type like a Cam Newton or even a Josh Allen. These running type quarterbacks have not sustained any success in the NFL. Yes, they win MVPs, but have you seen these guys win titles? Cam Newton was very close versus the Broncos. He didn't win it. He could have won it. He didn't. But Jalen Hurts has a great chance. But the reason why I love Jalen Hurts, let's look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had a great season so far. All right, I'm back on. Sorry about that, guys. So we talk about Jalen Hurts, right? And we say, can Jalen Hurts be a passer? He's been a passer. This year, he supported two receivers, which is why I put Jalen Hurts for sure in that tier too. He's led this team to a great record. They have a good defense. They have a really good team. So it's just not Jalen Hurts. So you're seeing a lot of these quarterbacks that are playing well right now. Not only do they have premier talent around them, they also have a good team around them. Patrick Mahomes is doing this with less weapons than he had his whole career. He's making guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Valdez Scantling, all these guys look good. Kadarius Toney and all these other guys. But Jalen Hurts, he has really taken a step as a passer. And this is why. This is why. So you look at this season, right? They added A.J. Brown, right? They go 14-1. But at the same time, he threw for 460 passes, a career high this year in year 3. 3,700 yards. It's not the biggest number, but the biggest number that I look at is the evolution in this game. He threw for 600 more yards this year, or 500 plus. He threw for 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, right? But then what he does in the ground game with his 165 carries for 760 yards rushing, and then 13 rushing touchdowns. You can make a case that Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson. But then you can also say, well, Lamar Jackson has not had these kinds of receivers. Well, whose fault is that? All these guys went and did was when everybody was saying that Jalen Hurts was not an accurate quarterback, that Jalen Hurts was not a good quarterback, even in year 2, he completed 61.3% of his passes. And then in year 3, this year, 66.5. When you look at what he's done in a scope, you'll think that he threw for 4,000 yards. He's capable. He only played 15 games. Had he played 2 more games, I'm pretty sure. I can almost guarantee you he plays 17 games. He definitely throws for 4,000 yards. Huge accomplishment. This is a huge accomplishment for Jalen Hurts in year 3. What I like to see more of Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts the passer and less of Jalen Hurts the runner. Like I told you guys, these rushing quarterbacks, they scare me because it takes one hit. It takes one hit and these guys are done. So yeah, Jalen Hurts is definitely in tier 2. I love what he brings to the table. And like I said, he was able to support 2 1,000-yard wide receivers. And that's impressive. You have A.J. Brown and then you have Devontae Smith. And then you have Dallas Goedert who got hurt. So he definitely has the weapons. Eagles look scary. Eagles have a chance to win a Super Bowl. As a Commanders fan, I do not want him to win a Super Bowl just because. But Ladarius brings up a great point. He says, would you put Herbert ahead of Hurts? No way. No way, Jose. And you might say, oh, this is crazy. Herbert did this in his rookie season. Herbert did that. I'm about to break down Herbert's numbers. Okay? Herbert has some of the best weapons in the NFL, but you have to treat Herbert the same way you treat a Dak Prescott. You got to treat Herbert the same way you treat a Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying that Dak and Kirk Cousins are in Herbert's level, but Herbert, he hasn't done anything. Has his team made the playoffs? Yes. They lost to the Jacksonville Jags. So, what has Herbert done for you? With all the weapons and the team that he has around him, what has he done? He's done nothing. Then you can say, what has Jalen Hurts done? Well, Jalen Hurts is in the NFC Championship game. All right. So until this guy Herbert does something, I'm not putting him as an elite quarterback. He's an elite quarterback in fantasy leagues, but in real life, what has Herbert done? All I'm saying is it's good to have a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But of all the teams right now in the Final Four, you have Purdy, right? Awesome, awesome story. Seventh round pick. This guy, the last pick of the draft of 22. And this guy is going to end up being most likely in the Super Bowl as a rookie. Seventh round, the very last pick. Great story. But it's just not Purdy. It's being around a good team. You have to build a good team. When you build a good team, it makes any quarterback look good. Let's look at Justin Herbert 3 years. So first year, he was terrible, 6-9. But stats wise, 4,300 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Okay, but no playoffs. In year two, they started out well, they fizzled out, 9-8. All right, 5,000 yards passing, 38 passing touchdowns, 15 interceptions. All right. And then you're hearing all this about, oh, wow, what an amazing start for Herbert, his first two seasons. 31 plus touchdowns both years, right? So now you're thinking, okay, it has to get better in year three. Better team. You have all. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to the live, but I'm back. I was talking about Justin Herbert. For those of you guys that was listening, pretty much in a nutshell. I don't know how much of that you guys got before I was kicked out, but I was just pretty much saying, in a nutshell, was that Justin Herbert, as good as he's been stat wise, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything. So I can't put him in that tier. But it just is what it is. I think that Justin Herbert can be a great quarterback in this league. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take some time. The right pieces, maybe the right coach. They already changed the coach. They might have to change it again. Sometimes you have to continue to tweak and tweak and tweak until you get the best form of a player. And right now, Justin Herbert just isn't that. And you can look at the career for Jalen Hurts. He's 1-1 in the playoffs. Justin Herbert is 0-1. So until he gets a playoff win, we can't even put him in the tier. Let's look at Patrick Mahomes' record in the playoffs. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, we know that he's near perfect when it comes to playoffs. Yeah, postseason, he's 9-3. and one of those losses being in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, like, what more can you say about Patrick Mahomes? He has been amazing. He's been amazing in his career, and he's a winner. He's a winner. So you got to put him up there, upper echelon of all echelons. When you look up Josh Allen, I mean, can he win? Can he win in the playoffs? Like, that's just what it all boils down to. We like to knock guys like Dak Prescott, not guys like Kirk Cousins, but hey, you got to start putting Josh Allen and Herbert in that tier of, hey, you can't win the big game. You can't. But there it says, I think Manny has RG3 flashbacks with those Russian QBs. No, it's not about RG3. It's about, I have not seen a quarterback that runs the ball win a Super Bowl. Have you seen one? If you've seen a Russian quarterback win, let me know. Forget about the RG3 comparisons and things of that nature. The running quarterbacks typically never win. Until one wins, then we can have this conversation. We can't have this conversation right now because these quarterbacks continue to not win. So it just is what it is. It says, I think Andrew Luck was the best passing Russian QB prototype before Mahomes. Mahomes is not even really a running quarterback. So I wouldn't even put Mahomes in that category. Now, Andrew Luck, yes, he runs. You can say that even Aaron Rodgers, he runs more than Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes does not run the ball. You can go and look at the numbers. Mahomes is a pass first, and he barely runs. When he runs, it's so rare. That's why, you see Mahomes running, and then with the ankle. I just do not trust running quarterbacks. They're just never available when you need them. It is what it is. So I hope that God protects Jalen Hurts. Even though he is a foe, I still support him. I think he's a great young man, great young player. It says, well, Burrow is 3-0 against Mahomes. Hey, that's a great stat. And that might continue. That might continue. To be honest, I would love to see Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. I want to see Cincinnati versus San Francisco. I think that San Francisco has a great chance to win the whole thing, regardless of if they're playing against Mahomes or not. Like, I think San Fran is literally, they might be the team to beat. That defense is crazy. And we see that you know, defense wins championships. Like we saw last year with the Rams. It wasn't Cooper Cup. It definitely wasn't Stafford. You know, these kinds of things happen. But yeah, great weekend of football. I enjoyed every bit of it. Dak Prescott and the 49ers losing made my weekend even better. I caught some of the game being out the country. I didn't catch every game, but it was just good to see good football being played. Now, the Giants did not deserve to get this far. They got this far, and they really got to show who their true colors are. But let's go ahead and get into some NBA basketball. Big trade today. My Los Angeles Lakers were able to trade for Rui Hachimura. And I think this was a home run deal. People say, well, is Hachimura even really good? Is he this? Is he that? Not only did they trade for Hachimura, Hachimura just dropped 30 points on January the 21st, was 3 for 5 from three, and then 5 rebounds. He's a much improved three-point shooter this year. Now, granted, he shot 44% last year. This year, 33%. He's not really known for his threes, but he'll take some threes when he needs to. So in his first year in the NBA, 13.5 points, 6 rebounds. Year two, 13.8 points, 5.5 rebounds. In year three, 11.3 points per game and 3.8 rebounds. Now, Hachimura has never played more than 57 games. That's the only knock I can see on Hachimura is he got to play games. You got to play games, got to be available. He's had different little issues here and there, but I think that Hachimura is a really good player. In year four, which is this year, with all the adversity that he's had, coming off the bench, he's averaging 13 points and 4.3 rebounds. This is a guy that can give the Lakers 15 and 8 off the bench. I think he's going to get anywhere between 25 to 35 minutes a game. You're going to see lineups of where you have Hachimura playing center sometimes. You're going to see Hachimura playing some power forward. With his wingspan of 7'2", being 6'8", I mean, he's your prototypical type wing. I think he has a chance to develop into a nice wing defender. He can score. He has a great mid-range game. I think this is a home run to me. You give up Kendrick Nunn, who was giving you nothing, and you get Hachimura, and you give what Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round picks, and people are complaining about 3 second-round picks. I mean, second-round picks are good. You find talent, but come on, this is a guy that was a lotto pick. The only reason why the Wizards are trading Hachimura is for one, they they don't have space for him. They have so many forwards over there to where Hachimura isn't playing. So I think the Lakers got a smashing good player. Great deal there. Let's dive into these comments for a little bit. But Darius says, if the Niners somehow win the Super Bowl, Jimmy G will be the first QB to have 3 rings without actually winning a Super Bowl as a starting QB. That's an interesting stat, man. That's an interesting stat. I think, I love this stat. I love this stat. It just goes to show you that it's all about team ball. It's about team ball. But guess what? Jimmy G definitely was a big help to getting these guys to this point. Jimmy G is a true professional, and I think he gets a job somewhere else. Ladarius says, Rui is a solid player. He's averaging 13 points per game in 30 minutes. Absolutely. I mean, he's solid, man. Look, he's going to be way more productive than Kendrick Nunn. And then the Lakers would have the bird rights to go ahead and sign this guy. I see him getting a second contract with the Lakers. And if it doesn't work, the Lakers can always trade him. The Lakers like to get assets that are tradable. So the plan is you get Rui Hachimura under his rookie contract. This year he's a rental, and they're going to re-sign him. They're going to re-sign Hachimura, and then they're going to use him as a trade chip if they need to. So they're going to have his rights. I think he's a restricted free agent. So it just bodes well for the Lakers. I mean, they got him for peanuts at this point. Ladarius says, my starting lineup would be TB, AD, LeBron, Rui, Lonnie, and Dennis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 players. You named 6 players, bro. But I think what you meant to say was Dennis, Lonnie. I mean, I think Lonnie starts, right? You have Dennis, Lonnie starts. Then you have Rui, Hachimura, LeBron, AD. But in certain lineups, you're going to see TB and AD on the floor at the same time. And with LeBron, I don't see how all 4 guys can be on the floor. I just don't. But this is a good problem to have. You can go big with Thomas Bryant. You can go small with Rui Hachimura. Great problem for the Lakers. And then now you're now having better production off the bench once Reeves comes back and Lonnie comes back. You have all these different pieces that you can plug and play. I think it's great for the Lakers. Let's look at where the NBA stands today before I end this podcast. The NBA is heating up right now. The trade deadline is 2 weeks away. You have the All-Star game coming up. And then you have a guy in Aaron Gordon saying that if he makes the All-Star game, he's going to enter the dunk contest. I think that was a weak move. That was a weak move. You do not beg. You don't beg for an opportunity to be an all-star just to participate in the slam dunk contest. I think that was weak. You should want to compete in the slam dunk contest regardless. If you want to compete, you compete. You don't say, oh, if I make the all-star game, then I'm going to compete. I just think that was a weak move. Some people might say boss move. I think it's a weak move. But the NBA standings right now, as it is today, you have the Celtics still in first place with 35-12 record, right? You have the Philadelphia 76ers. And these are the teams that you can see possibly making a move. I think the Boston Celtics need somebody else at guard. With all the injuries that they have with Smart, and then you have Brogdon, injuries, they need another guard. I don't know where they're going to find it. Maybe during the trade deadline or during the buyout season. Could a guy like Derrick Rose help the Boston Celtics? I don't even know if the Boston Celtics would want a guy like Derrick Rose. Eric Gordon, that's another guy that somebody's going to, trade for from Houston. You have Philadelphia 76ers. What can they really use? Maybe another 3-and-D wing, maybe another big man off the bench. Montrezl Harrell is nice, but I think they need a shooting big. I don't know. They need something. The Milwaukee Bucks, I see them making a trade. Maybe it's time to move on from Middleton. It might be time because it's just not working. He's been hurt. Yes, he was a pivotal part of that championship, Brooklyn Nets, they had a nice little run, and then KD goes down, and they're still in fourth place. If they're fully healthy, they could be the most dangerous team in the East. You have the Cavs, they're solid. You got the Heat, they're kind of up and down. You have New York, you have ATL, then Indiana, then the Bulls. So these are the teams, and you got the teams like the Wizards and Toronto. These are two teams that need to blow up their team immediately. Both, both, both teams, they don't have pieces in order to make any kind of run. I think it's time that both teams break up their team. Kuzma needs to be traded because it seems like Kuzma does not want to be in DC. You got to trade guys like Van Vliet. You got to trade guys like OG. Like both teams need to break up their team in order to kind of rebuild their team, in my opinion. Ladarius says, Manny, we should trade Russ to the Spurs for Richardson, Patel, and McDermott. At this point, you trade Russ for whatever. But these guys that you get back in return, none of them necessarily help you. Patel, now you have a logjam at center. Are the Lakers really going to play two bigs? If they're not going to play two bigs, Patel makes no, it just makes no sense. He's a good player, but I just don't see the Lakers playing two bigs. Richardson, he's straight. He'll be a nice 3-and-D type guy. Slightly bigger wing player than what we normally have with Schroeder and Beverly playing the guards. McDermott is one that makes sense because he's a knockdown shooter. So maybe Patel, McDermott, and another piece. I don't know. Or maybe, you get another wing instead of Patel. I don't know. That's just me. Ladarius says, I don't trust Jason Tatum in the playoffs. So Bucks still the best team in the East to me, and the Nets second best. I've always had the Bucks as the best team in the East ever since they won the year of their title. I still had them as the best team last year and even this year, but something about this Nets team tells me that they can be dangerous if they get the right piece. They need one more piece on that team. They get that right piece on this team, they can be lights out. Whether it's a legit big, maybe the Nets are the one to trade for Patel. I don't know. Maybe they are the team. Let's go ahead and look at the West real quick. So in the West, you got the Denver Nuggets. Wow. The Denver Nuggets have the best record right now with 33-14. The Memphis Grizzlies, to me, are the best team in the West. They are 31-15 right now. Sacramento Kings, I don't know. They're 26-19. I keep waiting for them to kind of fall, and they just continue to kind of hang around. Well, congratulations. This might be the year they finally make the playoffs. Even if it's as a 6 seed, I just don't see them hanging on to this top 4 seed. The Pelicans, they're another team. Both teams have hung around all year, 26-21. But that just shows you how weak the West is. Now, from 5 all the way down to 13, it's interchangeable to me. It's interchangeable. 2 games separate 5 through 13. You have the Dallas Mavericks, who are in the 5th spot right now, 25-23. They need to make a trade. The Clippers are 25-24. They need to do something. This load management between Kawhi and Paul George, I think this is the last year that you see those two guys together. Phoenix Suns, they were so good. Now they're 24-24. Then you have a team like Minnesota hanging around 24-24. What happens when Cat comes back? Utah, somehow, some way, they continue to hang around with a 24-25 record. Golden State, the world champs, they're 23-24 in the 10th spot. They're going to climb. I can almost guarantee you that Golden State climbs and Sacramento and maybe New Orleans falls. But we'll see what happens. Still plenty still plenty basketball to go. I'm sorry, guys. You got the Lakers, who are 22-25. They're just so close to 500. They get there, then they kind of fall off. They get there, and they kind of fall off. Maybe this is why they make the trade for Hachimura. Maybe they're like, okay, with Hachimura, we are a 500 team. Maybe that's enough to get you the 6th seed. The 6th seed is 25-24. The Lakers are 22-25. So a lot could happen between now and then. You got the, Trailblazers there with 21 wins and Oklahoma with 23 wins. So the rest of the way is going to be tough. Lakers right now are 6-4 in their last 10. As long as they keep that kind of pace, I think they'll be fine. I think once AD comes back, it changes everything. But can Mr. Glass stay healthy? We don't know. Ladarius says, Jokic better not get an MVP over Luka. Well, it kind of grows by team success. Right now, they are the first team in the West. If he continues the same pace and they're still the first team in the West, guess what? Joker is the MVP. If Memphis is number 1, maybe John Morant is the MVP. But then you got these boys in the East, Boston with 35 and 12 record, and Tatum's playing out of his mind, Tatum might win MVP. You got Joel. The MVP can literally go anywhere to anybody on these top five teams: the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Bucks, Philly, and even Boston. Any one of those superstars on each one of those teams can definitely win that MVP. But you know what it all boils down to? Team success. It's team success, and that's just the new way of picking the MVP. They've been doing this thing for the last few years. You look at individual talent, but team success is everything, which is why I think Luka Doncic does not win MVP. He's going to need a better team, and he's going to need a better record in order to claim that MVP. Ladarius says, what's going on with Kawhi and PG? They suck. At least AD only misses games when he's injured. Hey, Kawhi and PG, that's what you call superstar divas. These guys they just play when they want to play. And that's the difference between today's NBA and what it was in the past. You have all this load management, and it's just crazy. It's ruining the game. Last comment before I go: Lakers need to try and fleece the Raptors for Trent Jr. I don't think they have the pieces, but if they can send Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks and collect as much assets as you can from the Raptors, that'd be great. Right now, it's looking like the Lakers don't trade Russell Westbrook. I'm wishing that they do, but at this point, his value is so low. At this point in the season, I mean, he's played okay. What team will really go after Russell Westbrook? Wherever he goes, they might buy him out. And then which contending team is going to bring in Russell Westbrook? And wherever he goes, he's coming off the bench because he's shown that he can play that role. But can Russell Westbrook really help a contending team right now? Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks. He comes off the bench. He gives them some offense. Wherever he's going there as a scoring punch. Maybe Phoenix. Phoenix really needs a point guard. But I don't see Phoenix getting a Russell Westbrook, especially when they have a Chris Paul. But that's all I got for you guys on this episode of Talking Sports with Manny podcast. Please like, please subscribe, please share on YouTube. And then also, if you listen to the audio version, please give me a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next episode. I'm out, y'all. Peace.